Men should either be caressed or crushed. Machiavelli. Words strike with the force of a blade, reminding you that in power dynamics, neutrality is an illusion. In your personal life, this truth reveals itself most sharply in the company you keep. A friend can be an ally who strengthens your throne, or a disguised adversary sharpening daggers behind your back. To underestimate this reality is to invite betrayal into your inner court. Imagine your daily life as a political court. Each interaction is an audience in your chamber. Some approach with loyalty, others with hidden ambition. You are not simply socializing, you are ruling. Every smile may conceal calculation, every laugh may cloak envy. To treat friendships casually is to leave the gates of your kingdom unguarded. This is why vigilance is essential. Hidden enemies do not always declare themselves. They appear supportive while quietly redirecting your path. One archetype mirrors you, pretending to reflect your values while bending you toward theirs. Another hovers only when victory is near, abandoning you in hardship. Others flutter while envying, undermine with whispers, or cling as parasites, draining your time and focus. These five figures, though masked as companions, are threats to your sovereignty. You cannot afford to ignore them. The cost of negligence is erosion of influence, loss of clarity, and the weakening of your will. Think of it like a chessboard. Fail to see the disguised pawn advancing, and your king is cornered. Fail to act against the rival inside your circle, and your confidence is sabotaged from within. Power does not collapse from distant enemies alone. It often crumbles through betrayal in the closest ranks. Therefore, treat every bond as a strategic alliance. Guard your throne by testing loyalty over time. Observe how people act when you are absent, not when you are present. Watch for consistency between their words and their behavior. Confront betrayal with calm authority. If someone undermines you in a meeting, do not erupt. Instead, reaffirm your stance firmly, redirect the room, and let their disloyalty mark them, not you. Remember, the throne is not only a seat of power, it is the mind that governs it. Protect it from intruders disguised as friends. Protect it with discernment, distance, and discipline. And never forget the mantra, not every smile is safe. It is better to be feared than loved. If you cannot be both, Machiavelli's lesson applies not only to rulers of states, but to the ruler of the self. Your mind is the throne, the command center from which every decision radiates. If this throne is infiltrated, your entire kingdom falters. Fake friends do not always attack directly. Many act as spies who whisper in your court, reshaping the very way you think. Guarding the throne of the mind is the first and most decisive act of power. Cognitive science has shown that the people closest to you can influence your choices more than you realize. Subtle cues, repeated words, even the mood of those around you can tilt your reasoning. If the throne is surrounded by loyal advisors, clarity and resolve expand. If it is surrounded by false allies, the throne weakens. Influence is not always visible. It drips like water shaping stone over time. To protect your sovereignty, practice gatekeeping at the level of thought. Choose carefully who enters the hall of your attention. Picture your inner court guarded by sentinels. Their duty is to challenge every guest before they approach the throne. A careless ruler allows anyone to wander in with advice, flattery, or complaint. A wise ruler stations guards who ask, "Does this serve strength, or does this plant doubt?" When you notice gossip or disguised envy slipping into your mind, imagine those guards blocking entry. This mental visualization is not fantasy, it is training your awareness to influence before it embeds. Command your guards to filter what reaches your throne. Among the enemies you will face, the most insidious is the mirror friend. They reflect your words, your tone, your values, as if they are fully aligned. At first, this feels affirming, like standing before a polished glass. But over time, the reflection bends. Their subtle redirections push you toward decisions that serve their interests. You might share an idea, only to find it repeated back with small distortions. Left unchallenged, these distortions reshape your path until you are serving not your throne, but theirs. The defense is vigilance. Do not confuse imitation with loyalty. When someone echoes your beliefs, test their consistency across contexts. Do they speak with the same conviction when you are absent? Do they act with the same integrity under pressure? If you hear your own words twisted in their mouth, do not argue in frustration. Instead, correct calmly and firmly. That is not what I said. Let me restate it clearly. Then hold your ground without apology. In this way, you keep command without losing composure. Weak, maybe you're right. I could be mistaken. Strong, this is what I meant, and I stand by it. Weak, I guess it doesn't matter. Strong, it matters because clarity protects trust. These shifts in language remind both you and them who occupies the throne. The mind cannot remain undefended. Guard it with awareness, filter it with discipline, and challenge every echo that does not serve your strength. Your throne is only as strong as the defenses you set around it. Never forget the mantra, protect the throne of thought. The morning is a battlefield. The first moments after waking determine whether you march into the day as a commander or stumble into it as a captive. Before the world rushes in, you decide how sharp your perception will be. If you treat the morning lightly, false allies slip past your defenses. If you claim it as your ground, you train your eye to see who stands with you and who hides daggers behind their smiles. Begin with an intel briefing. Keep a journal at your side, not for decoration, but as a weapon of clarity. Record what you saw, heard, and felt in recent interactions. Did someone celebrate your success without hesitation, or did their praise arrive laced with hesitation or backhanded compliments? Did they offer help when you were struggling, or only when victory was already assured? Writing these details exposes patterns you might dismiss in the rush of daily life. The act of reflection slows your mind, sharpening it like a blade against stone. Pattern recognition is the skill of every strategist. Research in psychology shows that small cues, micro-expressions, fleeting tones, sudden silence often reveal the truth more clearly than long speeches. A tightened jaw when you share good news, a half-second delay before congratulations, eyes that dart when commitment is required. These are signals. Alone, they may mean nothing. Repeatedly, they tell a story. Your task each morning is to revisit what you observed, not with paranoia, but with disciplined attention. You are training yourself to detect inconsistencies, the way a general studies terrain for hidden traps. Among these traps stands the opportunist friend. They thrive on your victories, appearing when the feast is abundant, but disappearing when the supply line is thin. When you win, they are loud in their loyalty. When you struggle, their absence speaks louder. They are not there to share risk, only to bask in reward. Recognizing them requires honesty with yourself. Ask, who stood beside you when you had nothing to offer but effort? Who only appears once the outcome is secure? When you confront such a friend, remain composed. Suppose you notice someone who only calls when you achieve something noteworthy. Instead of accusing them with anger, respond with calm precision. I notice you reach out after milestones. I value consistency more than appearances. By naming the pattern without hostility, you make your standard clear. Weak. I guess you're busy. Maybe that's why you're absent. Strong. Consistency matters to me, and I expect it from those close to my circle. The difference is the difference between pleading and commanding. Your morning rituals are not trivial habits. They are weapons of detection. Journal with discipline. Review interactions with cold eyes, and evaluate loyalty not by words, but by presence in difficulty. Enter each day as a commander ready for inspection. Remember the mantra: the battlefield begins at dawn. Stillness is a weapon. When you remain calm and deliberate, you see more than those who rush to speak. Manipulators rely on distraction and noise. They fill silence with charm, stories, and flattery. But when you hold your ground in quiet, they begin to reveal themselves. Silence unsettles because it denies them control of rhythm. A pause can feel like an interrogation without words, drawing out nervous gestures and contradictions. Strategic pauses are not passive. They are deliberate moves in a contest of perception. In studies of communication, silence often increases the likelihood that others will expose their true motives, filling the void with details they did not plan to share. When someone flatters you excessively, wait before responding. That pause creates pressure. If their words are genuine, they will hold steady. If they are manipulative, the mask often cracks. Their tone shifts or their smile falters. The longer you remain composed, the clearer their intentions become. Train your perspective like a predator scanning a field. The hawk does not rush. It circles, watching for small movements that betray hidden prey. You must adopt the same vision in human dynamics. Watch eyes that flicker when you mention your success. Notice hands that fidget when loyalty is tested. Observe subtle envy concealed under applause. From a distance, it may appear as admiration, but the hawk sees the tremor beneath the leaves. This is predator vision, calm observation that extracts truth without confrontation. Among the enemies you face, one of the most dangerous is the shadow friend. They cloak envy with compliments, disguising rivalry as admiration. They congratulate you loudly in public, yet their private tone betrays unease. Their words elevate you while their energy undercuts you. This duality is designed to confuse, keeping you uncertain of their stance. But if you stay still long enough, the shadow reveals itself. A comment meant as praise slips into subtle comparison. A toast to your achievement turns into a reminder of their own. When you encounter this, do not explode or accuse. Suppose a colleague praises your promotion but adds, "Of course, timing was on your side." Instead of reacting defensively, remain unmoved. "I earned it through preparation and discipline." Calm authority dismantles hidden envy without granting it power. Weak, "Maybe you're right, I was just lucky." Strong, "Discipline creates results, and I claim the work I put in." Weak words surrender your throne. Strong words fortify it. Weaponizing stillness is not about intimidation. It is about clarity. Silence clears the fog. Others create. Observation reveals patterns. Noise tries to hide. The hawk teaches patience. The strategist teaches timing. And the throne demands composure. You do not need to outtalk an enemy. You need only to outweight them. Remember the mantra: stillness cuts deeper than words. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. The wisdom is brutal, but it reminds you of a core truth. Hesitation with dangerous allies is fatal. In politics, in business, in personal life, the one who waits too long to act is often the one destroyed. Elimination is not cruelty. It is survival. When you remove the wrong people from your circle, you are not only cutting ties, you are cutting potential knives aimed at your back. History shows this pattern clearly. Kings and emperors who ruled long understood the value of preemptive strikes. Many monarchs removed courtiers who gathered influence too quickly, not because betrayal had already occurred, but because the possibility was enough. Survival was not about waiting for proof. It was about reading signals and acting before the trap was sprung. When you sense repeated disloyalty, envy, or rumor spreading, hesitation gives your enemy time to grow stronger. Decisive removal keeps you alive on the throne of your own life. In the modern arena, the method is not an executioner's blade, but distance. No contact is a strategic maneuver, not an emotional outburst. When you stop feeding energy to a toxic connection, you starve their influence. Silence and absence become forms of psychological warfare. Many will attempt to bait you back into contact with apologies or subtle provocations. They may accuse you of coldness or pride, but you must hold your line. Distance deprives them of proximity, and proximity is the oxygen of underminers. Cut off the air supply, and their power evaporates. Among the most corrosive archetypes is the underminer friend. Unlike open enemies, they work in whispers. They plant seeds of doubt in others' minds, framing their sabotage as concern. They say, "I'm only looking out for you," while repeating private information in altered form. They smile in your presence yet quietly tell others your plans are unrealistic. Over time, their poison erodes trust around you. If left unchecked, you are isolated before you realize the extent of their work. When confronted with this behavior, remain composed. Suppose a colleague says, "I only told them because I was worried about you." Do not react with rage. Respond with calm authority. A true friend protects privacy. Spreading doubt is not loyalty. Weak, "I guess you meant well." Strong, trust is earned by silence, not by gossip. Weak language rewards betrayal. Strong language draws a boundary that cannot be ignored. The art of ruthless elimination is the art of preserving your kingdom. Do not confuse kindness with tolerance of sabotage. Your throne is your life, your vision, your future. Guard it with decisive clarity. Remove those who corrode it, and do so without apology. Remember this mantra: cut clean, cut fast, cut once. It is better to be impetuous than cautious, for fortune favors the bold. The words strike like steel because they reveal the essence of command. Composure is not passivity. It is a weapon. When you uncover a false friend, the instinct may be to expose them at once. But disclosure is not always a strategy. The true art lies in wearing the mask of command, projecting calm authority while privately charting your moves. Think of yourself as a general surveying a battlefield. You may spot traitors in the ranks, but you do not shout their names across the lines. You keep your posture steady, your tone unshaken, your charm intact. In this silence, you preserve control. Diplomacy over disclosure is the practice of timing. Reveal awareness only when exposure strengthens your position. Smile when you know more than you say. Hold back your knowledge until leverage is secure. This is not deception for cruelty. It is discipline for protection. One of the sharpest tactics is emotional camouflage. Manipulators thrive on reaction. They provoke you to measure your weakness. When you refuse to give them visible anger or wounded pride, you leave them blind. Silence and composure unsettle them more than confrontation. In many cases, holding a steady expression is the clearest signal of strength. Your restraint becomes a shield that blocks their attempts to control the emotional terrain. The parasite friend is the most exhausting of all. They do not attack directly, they drain, they consume your energy with constant requests, demand your time without reciprocity, and siphon your ideas as if they were theirs. Left unchecked, they leave you depleted while they advance. To confront them requires precision. Do not accuse them of parasitism. Instead, assert boundaries with calm leadership. Imagine them saying, "Can you help me again? I'm stuck." Weak, "I'll see if I have time." Strong, "I cannot take this on right now. I need to focus on my priorities. Weak. Maybe later. Strong. This is not my responsibility. Your tone is steady, not cruel, but immovable. A micro-example shows this in practice. Suppose in a group setting, the parasite interrupts and claims credit for your suggestion. Instead of flaring up, you wait until the conversation turns, then state with composure, "Yes, when I introduced that earlier, my focus was, the correction is subtle, firm, undeniable." You neither humiliate nor retreat. You reclaim ground with grace, maintaining authority without open conflict. The mask of command is not about suppression, it is about dominance of self. To master outward composure while knowing the truth is to stand on your throne without trembling. People will sense your calm as authority. They will read your unbroken presence as power. Behind the mask, you see everything. The parasites, the underminers, the shadows, the opportunists. Yet outwardly, you radiate poise. This duality is not hypocrisy, it is leadership. Hold this final line as your armor. Smile in public, strike in private. It is better to be feared than loved. If you cannot be both. Machiavelli's warning was meant for rulers, but it applies inwardly as well. You are both sovereign and subject within your own mind. Without discipline, your kingdom collapses. Without enforcement, your decrees mean nothing. To master yourself, you must train an inner assassin, the part of you that carries out hard decisions without hesitation. Think of this assassin as the blade of your will. Governance is useless if it cannot be enforced. You may declare boundaries, but if you fail to execute them, betrayal festers. The assassin is not cruel. It is impartial. It follows through on what you already know must be done. Fear or love becomes a principle inside you. Respect for yourself is love. Consistency in your enforcement is fear. Together, they create order in the inner court. To sharpen this, you need a persona, a boundary enforcer. Picture yourself like a sentinel who never wavers, or a judge who does not apologize for the verdict. Visualization strengthens decisiveness because it gives you an anchor. When hesitation creeps in, summon this figure, stand, breathe, and let the image carry you beyond doubt. Weak. I hope this doesn't upset them. Strong. This choice protects my throne. Cold courage is essential. Toxic ties often collapse only when you cut them cleanly. Yet guilt and hesitation try to disarm you. You must learn to neutralize these emotions by reframing them. Ending a draining friendship is not betrayal. It is defense. Refusing another demand is not cruelty. It is sovereignty. The assassin moves without pity because pity would sabotage the mission. Remember, you are not executing people. You are executing weakness, indecision, and harmful patterns. Consider a micro-example. A friend repeatedly cancels on you, yet expects you to be available at their convenience. When you finally decline their next invitation, they protest, "But you always come through for me." You answer evenly, "Not anymore. My time is not yours to claim." No raised voice, no defense, no apology. Just the sentence that closes the door. That is the assassin at work. Swift, clean, final. This inner assassin is not meant to rule your life in total coldness. Its role is surgical. It emerges when hesitation risks your dignity. It acts when boundaries must be enforced. It prevents betrayal by removing your weakness before others exploit it. Without this part of you, your decisions remain drafts, words without action, decrees without soldiers. You must cultivate it. Train daily by noticing where you hesitate and cutting hesitation in half. Replace soft language with iron. Weak. I'll try. Strong. I will. Weak. Maybe later. Strong. Not now. These small executions build the reflex that saves you in larger battles. The throne you guard is not only your mind, but your time, energy, and future. Enemies outside will always exist. Yet the greatest danger is the traitor inside, the part of you that knows what must be done and fails to do it. Train the assassin, respect the assassin. Call on it when the moment demands steel. Decide once, execute without mercy. A ruler who stands alone is already defeated. Power is not sustained by isolation, but by alliances that endure storms. You eliminate the false so that the truth can be strengthened. The wolf that hunts alone may survive for a night, but the pack that feeds together dominates the mountain. Your task now is not only to cut away the parasites, but to nourish the loyal. True allies must be reinforced. Psychology shows that consistent recognition of loyalty increases its likelihood to continue. Just as a commander rewards soldiers who hold the line, you must reward friends who prove steadfast. Loyalty grows where it is acknowledged. This does not mean shallow praise or empty gifts. It means sharp attention to their effort, reciprocity in action, and visible respect. When someone shows up for you, record it. When someone defends you in your absence, strengthen the bond. Power multiplies when gratitude is shown with precision, but generosity without scarcity weakens authority. If you pour out every secret, every resource, every moment, you make yourself too accessible. People value what is rare. Scarcity increases respect. Share pieces of yourself selectively, like a commander who reveals only the part of the map that soldiers need to see. Let your allies earn deeper trust through consistent loyalty. This balance keeps relationships strong while preventing entitlement. Weak, I'll tell you everything. Strong, I'll share what you've learned. Building an inner circle requires design, not chance. Not every neutral acquaintance is worthless. Some are waiting to be converted into allies. Test them with small responsibilities. Offer controlled opportunities to prove themselves. When they pass, bring them closer. When they fail, hold the line. Over time, you assemble a pack that both protects and amplifies your position. This is not manipulation, it is governance of your social court. You are choosing who gains entry into your fortress. Consider a micro example. A colleague hesitates when you are being criticized in a meeting. Later, they approach you privately and express support. Instead of dismissing them as weak, you answer calmly, "I value your words." But loyalty speaks loudest in the moment. No anger, no accusation, just a clear standard. That line challenges them to rise without alienating them. This is how you turn half-hearted neutrals into committed allies. Feeding the wolf is a cycle. Starve the disloyal, but nourish the loyal with clarity, trust, and respect. Use scarcity to maintain weight. Use recognition to build strength. Use selective challenges to forge resilience. Alone, you can endure. With a circle, you can reign. Feed the loyal, starve the false. Life is a chessboard, and every relationship is a piece in play. Some protect your king, some advance the mission, and some are expendable. To move blindly is to invite defeat. To move with calculation is to secure power. Sacrifice is part of strategy. On the board, you may give up a knight to shield the king. In life, you may release a friendship that drains your focus to preserve your mission. Do not confuse loyalty with obligation. If a relationship weakens your position, it is not an ally but a liability. Release it with precision, not emotion. Strong players know that losing a piece at the right time preserves the game. Weak, I can't let go. Strong, this move protects the mission. Yet, the game is not only about the immediate. Long-term openings decide the outcome. In chess, Masters think several moves ahead, positioning pieces where they will control the board later. In life, your influence is not confined to your current circle. Every introduction, every project, every alliance seeds a future advantage. You may invest in someone who is not useful today, but could open doors 5 years from now. That is not wasted energy, it is foresight. Position yourself where future opportunities must pass through you. But foresight also requires concealment. Not every opponent deserves to see your strategy. At times, letting false friends underestimate you is the sharpest blade. They assume you are weaker, less aware, or less ambitious. In that shadow of underestimation, you move freely. Calculated disinformation does not mean lying about who you are. It means refusing to reveal the full extent of your strength until the decisive moment. In war and on the board, the element of surprise turns defense into victory. Consider a disagreement handled with calm precision. A peer insists you are being too secretive with your plans. Instead of reacting defensively, you say, "Transparency is earned by loyalty." Until that is proven, silence protects everyone. No hostility, no arrogance, just clarity. You protect your position while setting a standard. They must meet. This is chess thinking. Each word is a move. Each move has a purpose. Understand that power requires both patience and ruthlessness. Patience positions your pawns until the board opens. Ruthlessness sacrifices them without hesitation when the king is threatened. Do not confuse kindness with weakness. Do not confuse secrecy with fear. The strongest rulers command respect by controlling information, rewards, and alliances with deliberate balance. Your command is simple. Think in moves, not moments. Guard the king, your mission at all costs. Sacrifice when necessary. Invest in openings that outlast the current game. Let underestimation be your shield until the strike is unavoidable. Every connection, every silence, every release is a calculated piece on the board. Play the board, not the moment. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Fear here does not mean terror, but respect rooted in strength. To be unmanipulable, you must train your will like iron, heated, hammered, and cooled until no hand can bend it. Without ritual discipline, even the sharpest mind can be dulled by flattery or pressure. With daily practice, you forge armor that no fake friend can penetrate. The first practice is reflection. Machiavelli studied history each evening, entering dialogue with the dead through reading and writing. You can mirror this discipline with journaling. Record the moves of your day like a general writing the battle log. Where were you strong? Where did hesitation creep in? Writing transforms vague impressions into visible patterns. Reflection arms you with clarity, and clarity prevents manipulation. A ruler who cannot see himself cannot rule others. The second practice is exposure to controlled discomfort. Cold showers, fasting, or short periods without convenience sharpen resilience. When you endure small trials by choice, you weaken the grip of fear. The body learns that pain does not command you, and the mind follows. These rituals are not about punishment, but conditioning. A soldier who has felt the cold of dawn marches without complaint. You must do the same. Endure the small so you cannot be broken by the large. But armor is not only inward, it is also relational. Micro-tests of loyalty expose hidden agendas without confrontation. Share a small, insignificant detail with a supposed ally and observe. Does it remain contained, or does it spread? Place minor stress on a relationship and watch the reaction. True loyalty holds under weight. False loyalty cracks. These stress tests are not cruel. They are chess moves, probing the board before committing a major piece. Weak. I trust everyone until proven otherwise. Strong. I test loyalty before granting trust. Before entering the arena of social interaction, prime your will with scripts. Athletes rehearse movements before the game. You must rehearse thoughts before the meeting. Recite a short, powerful mantra that sets your posture. For example, I do not beg for approval. I grant respect on my terms. These internal declarations steady you. When pressure arises, you recall the script and the mind holds the line. In many cases, the difference between bending and standing firm is one sentence rehearsed beforehand. Consider a disagreement handled with composure. A colleague presses you to share private information. Instead of reacting sharply, you answer, I decide what I share, and now is not the time. Firm, calm, closed. No guilt, no explanation. This boundary is not cruelty, it is sovereignty. The iron will does not justify itself, it stands. Every ritual you adopt is a hammer strike on your armor. Reflection sharpens awareness, discomfort hardens resilience. Loyalty tests secure your flank, mantras prime your stance. With repetition, these practices cease to feel like effort. They become the rhythm of command. The wolf respects strength, the court respects boundaries, and the board respects strategy. Steel your will, and none can move you. It is better to be impetuous than cautious, for fortune favors the bold. Yet boldness without inner sovereignty is fragile. To become untouchable, you must transcend the court entirely and stand as your own monarch. External power is unstable if your internal throne is empty. When you govern yourself with iron discipline, no fake friend, no manipulator, no whisper in the shadows can move you. The first principle is internal monarchy. Rule yourself before attempting to rule your surroundings. A king who cannot command his own impulses is a puppet draped in velvet. This means directing your focus, governing your desires, and enforcing your own laws with consistency. Command your attention as you would command soldiers. When distractions strike, order them back into formation. When temptations seduce, deny them the audience. Self-rule is not repression, it is deliberate governance. You stand sovereign over your own mind. The second principle is becoming the predator philosopher. A predator survives because it is fierce. A philosopher endures because it is strategic. Combine both, and you embody a force respected and feared, yet never reckless. This archetype is not about cruelty. It is about presence. The way you enter a room with calm authority, the way you speak with measured confidence. Weak, I hope they accept me. Strong, I decide how I present myself. Weak, I avoid conflict at any cost. Strong, I face conflict with composure. By merging ferocity with reason, you embody balance. A beast with no intellect is dangerous, but short-lived. An intellect with no backbone is harmless. You must be both. The third principle is freedom from validation. Most manipulation thrives on your need for approval. When you no longer crave applause, others lose leverage. Do not measure your worth by the smile or frown of another. Operate from standards you set for yourself. This does not mean rejecting connection. It means you choose it voluntarily, not desperately. A ruler who begs for validation is already conquered. A ruler who stands completely within cannot be bought or swayed. Consider a moment of pressure. Imagine a peer tries to corner you into agreeing with their view to win public support. You respond without heat. I respect your stance, but I will decide in my own time. No raised voice, no defensive scrambling. Just a calm assertion of sovereignty. This composure disarms attempts at control. Authority radiates when you remain immovable in the face of pressure. To transcend the court is to no longer depend on it. You engage with allies, you negotiate with rivals, but you are not defined by either. Your worth does not rise with praise or collapse with betrayal. You carry the throne within. You feed loyalty, eliminate parasites, build alliances, test loyalty, and now step beyond dependence. The strategies that once protected you become the foundation of unshakable freedom. When you internalize these laws, the court becomes background noise. Fake friends cannot pull strings that no longer exist. Validation seekers cannot tempt you with approval you do not need. Manipulators cannot anchor you when you are anchored in yourself. You are a monarch of one, a commander of will, a predator who calculates and endures. Rule yourself, and none can rule you. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. These words do not invite cruelty. They remind you that real sovereignty is not a popularity contest, but the fusion of authority, respect, and self-command. The climax of your training is not to become paranoid, nor to chase dominance for its own sake, but to embody the complete prince within, a figure who cannot be manipulated, who commands loyalty, and who moves with precision across the battlefield of life. The prince within is a unified persona. Imagine the throne, the battlefield, the predator, and the chessboard merging into one figure. You are ruler of your own kingdom, strategist of every engagement, hunter who senses deception, and grandmaster who sees 10 moves ahead. You do not lean entirely on intellect while neglecting instinct. You do not trust instinct without strategy. You integrate them. Weak, I react what comes. Strong, I anticipate and prepare. Weak, I hope for peace. Strong, I enforce stability. The prince within harmonizes conflicting qualities into one commanding whole. From this integration flows the mastery of strategic mercy and ruthless execution. History shows leaders who thrived because they knew when to spare and when to strike. Mercy wins loyalty when given with discernment. Ruthlessness protects you when hesitation would invite disaster. To embody both is not contradiction, it is balance. Do not confuse mercy with weakness, nor ruthlessness with cruelty. Mercy without boundaries is indulgence. Ruthlessness without principle is tyranny. The prince within cuts through these errors by applying each with timing. Act mercifully when it deepens allegiance. Act ruthlessly when delay would compromise your throne. This duality makes you formidable. Next comes the art of inspiring both fear and love without collapsing into either extreme. If you are only feared, you breed rebellion. If you are only loved, you invite exploitation. The balance creates stability. In practice, this means you project strength, so betrayal carries cost, while also displaying fairness, so loyalty is rewarded. People should know you as calm but unshakable, approachable but never naive. Consider a colleague who undermines you in front of others. You do not lash out in rage, nor do you smile and absorb the insult. You respond with steady clarity. Disagreement is acceptable, disrespect is not. In that moment, you are neither tyrant nor pushover. You are sovereign. Every decision you make becomes a move on the chessboard of life. You weigh trade-offs, you sacrifice pawns to protect your king, and you set traps for those who underestimate you. But unlike the chess player who focuses only on victory, you play for longevity. Fake friends may try to bait you into short-term fights. Do not oblige, see the broader board. Anticipate not just today's clash, but tomorrow's alignment of allies and rivals. The prince within is patient. Predator instinct sharpens this strategy. You watch quietly, you test loyalties, you sense weakness, but you strike only when advantage is assured. This is not paranoia, but readiness. The wolf that feeds its pack commands trust. The eagle that waits for the precise drop ensures its prey cannot escape. predators that lunge recklessly starve. The prince within carries the patience of the predator philosopher, sharp eyes, steady posture, disciplined restraint. Your daily practices strengthen this presence. You journal to clarify thought, rehearse mantras to prime your mindset, and stress test relationships to confirm loyalty. Over time, the rituals become armor. Manipulators find no entry. Parasites find no host. Approval seekers find no weak point. You are unshakable not because you never doubt, but because you have trained your will to master doubt. The cost of failing to embody this form is dependence. Dependence on approval, dependence on validation, dependence on fragile alliances. The reward of embodying it is freedom. When you no longer bend to whispers or threats, you move through life's court as a master among pawns. Others may play their games, but your throne is internal, your command unshaken. The prince within is not an illusion. It is the final form born from every principle you have cultivated. The throne of self-rule, the battlefield of discipline, the predator's vigilance, and the chess master's foresight. Together they forge a figure who inspires respect, who wields fear without cruelty, and who lives untouchable. Be the prince within, and the court bows to you. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. This is the reminder that crowns are not handed freely. They are defended by vigilance, guarded by discipline, and anchored in self-rule. You now stand at the throne of your own life, and your kingdom is the network of people you permit inside your walls. The oath of the prince begins here. You will not drift into friendships by accident. You will not grant influence to those who have not earned it, and you will not kneel to approval that weakens your sovereignty. Each day you rise, repeat your oath. I rule myself first. I choose allies with intention. I deny entry to parasites. I reward loyalty. I confront betrayal. This ritual is not a ceremony, it is armor. By anchoring your mindset daily, you insulate your throne against the whispers of flatterers and the schemes of opportunists. Weak. I need connection. Strong. I command connection. Weak. I hope for respect. Strong. I enforce respect. Language sharpens your stance, and your stance shapes the kingdom around you. Deliberate selection is now your weapon. No more accidental friendships born of convenience or proximity. Every ally is weighed. Every association is measured against your values, your vision, your path. You are not cruel, but you are uncompromising. The careless ruler who leaves his gates open finds his court poisoned by spies. The watchful ruler secures order. From today forward, you do not apologize for discernment. You accept fewer seats at your table, and in return you command greater loyalty from those who remain. Empowerment comes not from walls of stone, but from vigilance of spirit. When you move through life alert, testing loyalties, enforcing boundaries, you become unassailable. Fake friends wither because they cannot root themselves in your soil. Manipulators starve because you refuse to feed them validation. The prince within is now the prince without, visible, present, commanding. You are not merely defending yourself, you are projecting strength so clearly that few dare to test it. The court you command is not infinite. It is selective, fortified, aligned. This is how invulnerability is built. Not by isolation, but by strategic curation. Some will disagree, calling your vigilance harsh. Answer with calm clarity. Guarding my throne protects us all. You show strength without hostility, resolve without arrogance. This is leadership. Now you close with a single coronation. Stand firm, repeat your oath, and claim what is already yours. The throne is mine.